Welcome to TYT Sports. I'm joined by Damien Carville, who is born and raised in Liverpool, Everton fan. I know what you're thinking. It's okay. We've got him here. He's an Everton fan. We're going to talk about one of your favourite subjects, Liverpool.
The Mighty Reds.
Yeah. The Mighty Reds. And they have seemed to be picking up somewhat traction, I'd say. They're starting to kind of find their way back in the league. And it's funny enough because the video that the Full-Time Devils made, and we're a big fan of them, make sure to subscribe, they made a kind of like support Brendan Rodgers campaign. And it was to kind of make fun of how bad they were doing. And ever since they made that video, Liverpool have regained confidence. Take a look at the video here.
This is an urgent disaster appeal on behalf of Brendan Rodgers and LFC. Over the last few months, Brendan has been beaten by villains, smashed by hammers, and abused by eagles. 2014 was supposed to be his year, their year, but it all slipped away, and now he's a man on the brink. Liverpool, land of the comedian, have become a footballing joke. The fans have lost all hope. Stars have lost their shine. Where once Liverpool had bite, now they're toothless, and poor Brendan faces a Christmas walking alone. But it doesn't have to be this way, because you can make a difference. For just £3 a month, you can help Brendan write the next page in Liverpool's history. Your donation will go towards changing Brendan's life. Every pound donated will help him buy more Southampton players. It will help him educate the club on how to use social media responsibly and provide counselling for those struggling with life in the shadows. Please, whatever club you support, put rivalry aside this Christmas and let's join together as a community to help those in the greatest need. Text the message "Help Brendan" to 2018 and donate today. Thank you.
Okay, so, I mean, first things first, Everton fan, is your hatred for Liverpool as deep as what maybe mine is for Rangers?
I would say that there's a certain level of antipathy that we have in Liverpool. It's often been said in Liverpool that if Liverpool were playing against Dynamo Mars to save the Earth from destruction, that Everton fans would wear Mars scarves for the game. So I'm not sure it's that bad, but there's a certain level of mutual antipathy that we share.
Yeah, I agree. And it's I still don't think that people in America understand that part. They do have their passion, their rivalries, I think the Lakers and the Clippers, but I've been to a Clippers game and Lakers fans have sit next to each other. I say this all the time in front of the camera, you got a Rangers and Celtic game, you're sitting in if you're a Celtic fan sitting in a Rangers stand, you basically got a death wish. There's no way that can happen. So it's very similar to the rivalry. But we're going to have to talk about Liverpool. And the headline from ESPN article, which is a good article, that says, Liverpool are finally showing signs of turning their season around. And first and foremost, I have to say that Brendan Rodgers, even if they were sitting in relegation, would still say that things are fantastic. Sure. He's in an interview, he's like, no, things are great, never been better, we played amazing, we've done this. And it's somewhat of a positive and a negative because it feels like he's putting on this front to protect his team, but behind the scenes, how would that affect the players, you know what I mean, if he's constantly believing that things are going well? Sure. When they're still nowhere near the team that they were last year. But against Chelsea, they showed such clear signs of a changing team, of passion, of defensive capabilities, of basically being confident going forward. Because last season, when they'd fly with Raheem Sterling, Sturridge and Suarez and Gerrard, they didn't care what happened at the back. Sure. They had no worries about where they would go. But when they lose the ball now, at the start of the season, they panicked. When they went forward, they were it was as if you're saying, oh, we can't lose it because it's as if we've got an empty net back there. Sure. What do you think about their performance?
So I think several things. I think firstly, they had to improve. Yeah. I think Brendan Rodgers' credibility is somewhat stretched. I think the signings Liverpool have made with the transfer committee in the main have not been successful at this point. Yeah. Shoots of recovery, but in the main not been successful. I think the fans don't particularly like his relentless positivity, even in the face of evidence to the contrary. I agree. So I think, they had to improve. They have improved. I think the two big issues that Liverpool have needed to fix are still not fixed: central defence and goalkeeper. Improvement, but no long-term answers. Yeah. I think from a tactical standpoint and a shape standpoint, they've made some tweaks to the team that have genuinely improved them.
Emre Can, still young, 21 years of age. does a great job of kind of holding a defensive structure. He's not the best defender. I mean, if you watched his tackle on Hazard, it was like me coming home from a Saturday night trying to find the fridge. You know what I mean? He just stumbled straight into him and just took him out, and there was no way that should be a decision made from a professional football player. But he provides something a little bit more different to Liverpool. And I know do you agree that he has been brought in as a good replacement so far at this point? Compared to what they had before, because I know we're going to talk about Lucas Leiva.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of his. I think he's one of the most overrated players that there's been in Liverpool, and he works hard. He's a workhorse. Kind of reminds me a little bit like a Robbie Savage, who runs around kicking people and wins the ball. Not what we'd expect from a Brazilian, but what do you think about him?
So let's take Emery Can first. I think he was brought in to add a little bit of sort of capability on the ball among the back three, and I think he's good. I think his distribution is pretty good. I think he moves the ball quickly, which Liverpool need. I think I agree with you. I think defensively, he will be proven to be a liability in time. I think the better teams will figure out how to get around the side of Liverpool's back three, and I think he'll be caught out. You don't just learn to become a defender overnight. He's a central midfielder. At this level, margins are very fine, positioning angles are slightly different. But I think he's enhanced them at this point. In terms of Lucas Leiva, I'm a big fan.
Oh, you are?
So Lucas Leiva, I think, is Liverpool's best defensive midfielder. In the last 2 years, he's played 57 games for Liverpool. They've lost 5.
Wow.
This season, they have lost 1 in 12 that he's played and 6 out of 10 that he hasn't played. So I think he's very important. I think he's limited as a footballer, but I think he knows his job and he does it well. I think what he also brings to the team is he gives the ability for Brendan Rodgers to either forces this, or he gives the ability for Rodgers to play Gerrard in a more advanced role.
That's what I was going to say. Do you think it's the fact that they're playing Lucas Leiva that's changed that, or the fact that they've pushed Gerrard forward and not had him do the box-to-box midfielder that he could do 5-6 years ago? Because when you have Gerrard in there, as we've seen plenty of times, it's definitely a liability defensively. Teams will find that hole between the defensive line and the midfield line. So, I mean, I understand that Lucas Leiva can go in there. I just feel that they have the ability to. I would have brought in someone, a defensive midfielder, who would have basically someone like Wanyama. Take him from Southampton at the start of the season. I thought he showed great signs towards the end. And have someone in there to basically be a rock at the centre midfield that allows for these midfielders to go forward. Because they toy between Leiva, they toy between Can, and they toy between Jordan Henderson. And none of them are, I believe, Lucas Leiva, is a defensive midfielder. That's his position. He's been around there for a few years. I feel like they need a bit of fresh blood in there. Someone like a Makelele, don't say you can find that, but someone like that who can lead from the defensive midfield position.
I don't think Lucas Leiva is the long-term answer. I think they can do better. I think when you look at Chelsea buying the likes of Matic, I think he's head and shoulders above Lucas Leiva. And I think if Liverpool want to get to the level that they aspire to, that their transfer policy has suggested they should do, I think they can do better. But I think the ability to push Gerrard forward has helped. I think Steven Gerrard no longer has the legs that he did, but he still has world-class delivery from out on the right-hand side. And I think that's one of the subtle changes that is going to help Gerrard play a more important role. I think what's interesting is, I think the recent news and the change with Gerrard, and obviously he's going to be joining us in Los Angeles next year.
Woohoo!
I'm very excited about that as an Everton fan. I think it's taken a bit of pressure off Rodgers to feel as though he needs to play Gerrard all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He brought Gerrard off pretty early the other night, in relative terms. And he wasn't afraid to do it, and the fans were okay with it. And I think there's a slight shift in that, which I think is going to benefit Liverpool.
That's a good point to make. And just to finally summarise the point on Liverpool, I think that to reiterate what you're saying is, it's that ability to go forward without worrying about defenders, and I think that's down to 2 things. Taking Lovren out of the back. I said at the very start of the season in many videos that he wasn't a great player, wasn't Liverpool quality, but allowing Raheem Sterling to have the free ability to do whatever he wants through the centre. He's a good wide player, don't get me wrong, he'll take anyone one-on-one, but if you've seen his goal against Chelsea, he'll take players through the middle, take it by them, he's got that speed and electricity to put it into the bottom corner, and whilst they don't have a Sturridge, who's coming back in February, they don't have a Sturridge and Balotelli's somewhere making out with some girls in clubs or whatever, like they don't have anyone up there to basically take that role, and do you agree with Raheem Sterling is the answer to kind of play him through the middle?
I think it's, I don't agree that he's a wide player. I think when he broke onto the scene, he could burn people for pace, and they didn't know who he was, and I think he could play wide at that point. I think at this point, people know who he is. When you force him inside from the wide position, or rather you force him wide, he's less effective. Down the middle, he's very dangerous. He can go both sides. Very quick, very powerful. I think that was a massively posive move.
Well, thanks, Damien. Your perspective's been great. Make sure to check us all out at TYT Sports. Follow us on Twitter at TYT Sports. Me at Francis_Maxwell. Do you have a Twitter?
I do. Damien Carville, my name.
Damien Carville, there you go. Follow him there. And stay tuned, we're going to be talking plenty more Premier League. We've got our underrated and overrated clips coming up. Check them out.